Call the regular meeting of the Milliken Board of Trustees, Wednesday, May 24, 2017, to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the town clerk please call the roll?
Yes, Mayor. Trustee Austin? Here. Trustee Leron Ehrlich?
Here.
Trustee Burek? Here. Trustee Nick Ehrlich?
Here.
Mayor Woodcock?
Kind of.
Mayor Pro Tem Meisner?
Here.
Trustee Kidd is absent at this time.
Agenda approval. Does anyone have any additions or deletions to the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Approve the agenda.
Second.
All right. Citizens' comments. Citizen comment is the point in the meeting where the public is invited to address the town board on any what? Oh, I thought you were waving your hand at me. Public comment on any public hearing items will occur during the scheduled public hearings. All comments should be directed to the town board. Please limit the time of your comments to 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record at the podium. The town board may make no decisions or take no action during this. Is there any citizens' comments? Can you put the podium, please?
I'm new at this, so please forgive me. My name is Clifford Faird. I live at 1793 Sunset Circle in Settlers Village. And I have a concern, and I don't know where to go with it, so I thought I would come here because you folks should be the resident experts. Evidently, we have a metro district that I was not made aware of when I purchased the land. And I talked to the Treasurer Department in the Weld County, and evidently there is no requirement, state, local, that a metro district be revealed. I don't know what their mill levy level is, but I did do some research, and one of the things I discovered is they can change the mill levy at will. And I thought we had a law in the state of Colorado that says taxes cannot be increased without direct taxpayer approval. My other question is, I don't know what services they provide. Does anyone here know what services they provide?
They put the infrastructure in, the sidewalks and in that subdivision and the subdivision surrounding.
Okay.
That's the services that were provided.
And once that service is completed, are they going to be disbanded and that mill levy go away, or is that mill levy going to be there forever? Do you know? Because
It's
unless
not
Settlers Village is outside of outside the jurisdiction of the city, which according to what I read, most of the time a metro district is established for an unincorporated area. And I believe Settlers Village is part of the city. So I didn't understand why they were established in the first place. I don't know if those services that they're providing are duplicates of the services that the city provides.
there are ways for developers to put in infrastructure and pay for it later.
Okay. Will that money, will that metro district go away? So they're going to have revenue in the future.
Can you answer those first?
You know, metropolitan districts can be established both in unincorporated and incorporated areas of the state. They have become very common to finance public improvements, as Trustee Ehrlich has mentioned. There are some provisions, I have not looked at the service plan for this metropolitan district. There are some sunset provisions if they've paid off all the bonds and the financing instruments. I am not aware of this metropolitan district's service plan
There
provisions.
are also certain areas that they're responsible for maintaining. The two small neighborhood parks within Sunset Circle or Sunrise Circle, and also the trails that are along the railroad tracks.
Right.
That whole area is maintained by the Metro District and will continue to be maintained by the Metro District.
But I'm kind of a logical person, I think the infrastructure is going to be the lion's share of the revenue that they're going to be taking. And at some point in time, they don't need or shouldn't need as much money.
Correct.
And do we have any control to make sure that that money decreases to an appropriate level to handle the maintenance?
They have their own board, and there is procedures within that.
Yeah,
that can
and I
happen.
also know that every 2 years there's supposed to be an election in May. I was not made aware in any way, shape, or form that there was an election for the board members in May. So I'm wondering what this body can do to control that, if this body has any control whatsoever over that.
We don't.
Linda, we don't have any control over that, do we?
They are a separate legal entity and a quasi-public
And they're a
entity.
third tier of the government according to the way it's described within everything I've read. So they have to, doesn't it make sense that they answer to somebody?
Should answer to the voters that voted
Yeah,
that
they-
are in the Metro District.
Yes, and if nobody's made aware of an election, how can you vote?
I get you there.
And they should be having board meetings as well. So, I mean, at least we can find out who the officers are of the board.
And they do post, don't they post at town hall when their meetings are at, on a
Sometimes I
And I know I couldn't find a website for them,
Yeah, I don't either.
so it was virtually impossible, other than going to the board. And I'm sorry, I don't believe in taxation without representation. And when I'm not made aware that there's an election and I can't go and vote, and I don't know where to vote, okay? Our forefathers saw to it that that was verboten, okay? So this entity here, I'm throwing it in your laps a little bit. I'll go and pursue with them, but I'm sure I'm not gonna be very popular when I do. But is my logic, am I the only one that thinks?
I'm sure there's more than just you out there that has this.
Well, I know that I would
in
not
your
move into the
subdivision.
Johnstown, Thompson River Ranch area because of the metro district that they have over there. Because there's absolutely no control whatsoever on how the money is handled. And any money that they get over here, I don't know if it's strictly for Settlers Village, or whether it goes out to Kersey, or whether Windsor, whether that's one metro district covering those three areas.
No.
I don't know how that's handled. And I don't want my money and my bond issues going to finance things that are over there. So that's why I'm asking you guys, because you have a heck of a lot more clout than I do.
we can provide some information to you forthwith regarding contacts and budgets and all that.
Forthwith isn't required, just something that is solid, that makes them accountable. I'd like to see something that makes them accountable. According to the papers that I read, there is an annual audit required. There are two exceptions, or one exception, I believe it was one, and that was if their revenue is less than $500,000. They don't have to do an audit, so they don't have to account for how they spend the money. Which, you know, there's supposed to be 1,500 homes over there, and they're taking in a whole lot of money through the county of Weld, and it doesn't seem like they have to account for it, and I don't have any influence. Because again, I don't know about the elections. Surely somebody can make them announce the elections.
There should be a set of bylaws
Yeah.
about Holden's office that
Yeah, the-
explains all that.
Yeah.
That was adopted and recorded at the county
We
at the
can-
time
yeah.
the Metro District was set up, so.
We can
If
provide
you go
that
over to the county
information
clerk's
to you.
recorder's office, you should be able to get all that information.
Okay.
And we have your name and address, and I'll be able to contact you and
I would
give you
greatly
additional
appreciate it.
information
Yeah.
very shortly. All I was saying with forthwith
Yeah.
was shortly.
I appreciate you allowing me to take so much time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Excuse me, Mr. Farr, did you sign in at the sign-in? Could you please do that for me? Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Any other citizens comment? Uh, Citizens comment is closed, and we'll move on to approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Is there any discussions or comments on the minutes? If acceptable, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of May 10th, 2017 Board of Trustees meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I give me a motion?
Second.
That was kind of backwards.
Now you're all awake. All right, we'll kick it again. Consent agenda, nope. Acknowledgement of paid list of bills. Yeah.
That's usually Bo's line, and no, I have nothing.
That's perfect.
Stay in your lane of traffic.
Thank you, Katie.
Move to approve. Bills is paid.
Second. Good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda. The use of the consent agenda has been made to expedite board action on routine items. There is no discussion of the consent agenda items unless a board member requests an item on the consent agenda be removed for separate discussion and action under the action agenda. Are there any changes to the consent agenda? If none, I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Who second, I'm sorry, was that Mayor
There's
Pro
two to
Tem
three,
Isner?
I think we,
Pick one.
Okay, I
Andrew,
heard two
take your
voices.
choice.
Okay. Trustee Burek,
You hear? Yes.
trustee Nick Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mayor Woodcock,
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem Isner,
yes.
trustee Rivera,
Yes.
trustee Austin.
Yes.
Alrighty. Action agenda. Action item number 1, public hearing and consideration of ordinance 748, approving the Meadow Farm subdivision, filing one final plat and approving such a plat as a site-specific development plan for which vested property rights are granted. It is 6:43 and I'm gonna open the public hearing. Do I have anything from anyone? You can get up. There's your sign.
You guys fire up my presentation?
Fired up.
Well, I'll go ahead and get started. Meadow Farms, you guys have approved the, Mayor, members of the board, you guys approved the preliminary plat and sketch plan for Meadow Farms in January of 2017. And this is a hearing on the final plat. And, well, it's located at County Road 19 and County Road 44. Just hit. Surrounded by county ag land on all four sides. Similar size lots to the northeast. In the preliminary plat, preliminary plat included filing one and future phases, so it included the entire site, which is 76.93 acres. The final plat is only for filing one, which is approximately 45.38 acres, and includes 23 lots, all 1.5 acre plus size. I already went over all that. There's 5.65 acres of open space, which meets our 12% requirement, and includes all the green area, which is both the detention pond and the equestrian trails. Let me back up to this. There were 3 items that were brought up through the preliminary plat process, kind of not necessarily conditions of approval, but considerations. One was lots 17, 18, and 19, which are all right up in here. We're facing County Road 44 or accessed off County Road 44, which is an arterial road, and it's not allowed by code. So we had the applicant turn these 2 lots to face Meadow Farms Drive, and then the third lot, they will have access off of Meadow Farms Drive. The second item that came up through the preliminary plat was to connect all of the equestrian trails there were a couple of gaps where you couldn't take a complete loop, so they were gracious enough to connect those trails. And we expanded a couple of the easements, the equestrian trail easements and the easements along Meadow Farms Drive, or they expanded those easements to allow for future expansion of sanitary sewer. It's not required, but it allows the opportunity for, if sanitary sewer does become available, that the residents can tie in to a sewer. So your criteria for approval is, does it meet the preliminary plat and associated conditions? And that's what I just went over, and it does. Will it substantially comply with community design principles? And yes, it does. And are all applicable technical standards have been met? This went over under pretty stringent review by the town attorney and engineer and myself to make sure it meets all the code requirements. The next piece to this is they are requesting vested property rights. Typically, properties are vested for a 3-year term per our code. Meadow Farms is asking for a 10-year vesting. The Colorado state statutes say that if the size of phasing can justify asking for additional vesting, or market conditions. And the letter that I gave to you guys earlier represents their request for the extension based on the build-out time for Wildcat Acres and Peregrine Creek. They both took, I want to say, in the order of 9 years to build out. We all anticipate this one will move a lot quicker than that, but just to allow them that additional vesting. And Linda can speak more to that if you have any questions on that. And I think we just have one ordinance on this one to approve.
Correct. Under the Milliken Municipal Code, the zoning section, final plats are required to be approved by ordinance, which is somewhat unique, but in this circumstance, it's convenient and appropriate because along with the final plat approval, the board is considering vested property rights through designation of the final plat as a site-specific development plan. And that's terminology used under state law. If you approve vested property rights, state statute authorizes municipalities to approve vested property rights for a period of 3 years or longer if they meet certain justifications, and that is provided in the applicant's letter, along with in the ordinance and in the subdivision improvement agreement. So if the board desires to grant the applicant's request for a 10-year vesting period, that essentially says the board isn't going to take any action to impair, inhibit, prohibit, or prevent their subdivision plat from being developed as approved, meaning for residential lots of those lot sizes that the plat proposes. Does anyone have any questions about the vested property rights? It is technically a separate application from the final plat approval. And if the board approves it, it'll have to be designated with this language on the final plat. We'll have to publish a second notice after the board's approval in a newspaper, providing the public with notice of those vested property rights. So the alternative for the board is to approve something less than 10 years, but you'll hear from the applicant and their justification for the 10-year period.
If you don't have any other questions of me, I'll turn it over to the applicant.
Hi, I'm Tom Oldenburg. Do you need my addresses on the paper? Do you need that? 5613 DTC Parkway, Suite 810, Greenwood Village, Colorado, 80111. That's our company address. Regarding, let me see if I can. Okay, there we are. Regarding the green space, yeah, we did line up the green space so it works better. The green space, we also widened the equestrian easement so that potentially the property, there's the arrow, the drainage way, the creek runs kind of southwest, northeast over here. So that's probably most likely someday where a sanitary sewer line would run, because it always runs in the lowest areas. So sanitary sewer could potentially come up through here and potentially use the equestrian trails rather than the street, ripping up the street, which saves in public improvements and stuff like that. So we allowed, there's two options. There's easements along the frontages of the property, and there's also wider easement in the equestrian trail to allow. Depends on how it works out, if someday, all those scenarios. And then we did switch lots around, which was a pretty easy fix for that, so that there was no driveways off of the arterial, future arterial. I mean, even though you could take a nap in 44 now, but someday, right? So, regarding the vesting rights, we took a look, that's why I provided this graphic. We looked at the two subdivisions that are immediately to the north and east of the property. And they're 1 acre lots. These are 1.5 acre lots. So they're gonna attract, you know, some higher end homes. They have to sell for more. And so there's less of a customer base versus a smaller tract home. There's a lot of, you know, they can move along quicker. These will, I mean, we're hoping, we want it to sell really quick. It's all to our advantage. But we're looking at economic cycles of these 1 acre lots. And one took 9 years and the other one took about 9 years to build out. And so we're saying, well, things go up and down, and we wanted, after we've been through all this, we wanted to, you know, have 10 years to get it done, so. So that was it. And I'm open for any questions. No? Okay.
Thank you for making the changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, thank you.
Any other public comment? No? Okay. At this time, I'm gonna close the public hearing for consideration of ordinance 748. Do I have a
Mayor, the Board of Trustees, after hearing testimony and examination of the documents presented, and based on staff's findings set forth in the May 24th, 2017 staff report, finds the application meets the provisions of the Town of Milliken's Land Use Code, and approves ordinance number 748, approving the Meadow Farm subdivision filing number 1 plat in accordance with section 16-4-180 of the Milliken Municipal Code, and pursuant to CRS section 24-68-101, approving such plat as a site-specific development plan for which vested property rights are granted.
Second.
town clerk, please call for a vote.
Any discussion on this, Mayor, on the board? Trustee Austin?
Yes.
Trustee Burek?
Yes.
Trustee Lee Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Woodcock?
Yes.
Trustee Nick Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Meisner?
Yes.
Action item number 2, a resolution 17-09 approving Tri-State Fireworks, Inc. to provide a public fireworks display for Beef and Bean Day.
I need to recuse myself because I serve on the committee.
So who's from the committee gonna think? Nothing? Does Linda wanna, like, or?
She already gave us the update, so.
I need a motion, I'm game.
We adopt resolution 1709 approving Tri-State Fireworks, Inc. to provide the public firework display for Beef and Bean Day.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Town clerk, please call for the vote.
Yes, sir. Mayor Woodcock?
Yes.
Trustee Burek?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Meisner,
Yes.
Trustee Nick Ehrlich,
No.
Trustee Lee Ronowitz.
Yes.
God, he hates fireworks.
So do I.
All right. For action item number 3, consideration and approval of contract for municipal abatement services, I'm going to recuse myself due to that the company is owned by my parents.
No fireworks. 4-1, I'm the only one that voted for it.
No. How could you? Oh, is that true?
Mayor Pro Tem Meisner and trustees, this contract is with Escape Landscapes for abatements of properties in code violation within the town of Milliken. We have had a contract with Escape Landscapes for the last 7 years, annually with that company, and they have performed their services well. These are services when the code is in violation and they refuse after notification to take care of the property. Escape Landscapes comes in and abates the property, and then the charges are invoiced to the property owner. If they refuse to pay, then they're given to Weld County to be placed as a special assessment on the property. And it's worked well in the past, and I recommend the board to approve the contract.
Did we have other companies that we looked at besides this company?
We haven't had significant interest from other companies, and the responsiveness with Escape Landscapes has worked well. Usually it's within 48 hours that they respond and take care of the property.
I move to approve the contract for municipal abatement services with Escape Landscapes and authorize the town administrator to sign.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the contract for municipal abatement services with Escape Landscaping. Any discussion? Would you call for the roll, please?
Yes. Yes, Mayor. Trustee Nick Ehrlich,
Yes.
Trustee Austin,
Yes.
Trustee Burek,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Meisner,
Yes.
Trustee Lee Ronowitz.
Yes.
There's a problem here.
Put it in the wrong spot. For action item number 4, the town's going to convene as the liquor licensing authority. So, what?
What did I do?
It is 7 o'clock, and we are now convened as the liquor licensing authority. For action item number 4, consideration approval of temporary modification of premises for Burnout Grill. Any
Yes,
questions?
Mayor and trustees, this, and I apologize for the tardiness in getting this to you. We've been waiting since the beginning of May from notification from the Department of Revenue, Liquor Division. And they've been overwhelmed with the amount of licenses they've received and short staff. So I received a phone call today, finally back from them, in regard to this. The Burnout Grill is wanting to host an event at their location on Sunday, May 28th. It's a Realities for Children charity event. It's I believe, a motorcycle run that will probably, they'll be there about a half an hour and then move on to Johnstown and then on from there. So Danielle Jennings has asked for a temporary modification of premises for the hours listed, will be approximately from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. on her liquor license, so that they can extend their outside area a little further to accommodate all the different people that will be coming through.
It's a one-time deal or a permanent?
It's a one-time deal, it says temporary, so it's just for Sunday, and it's just between those hours.
Okay.
I don't see a problem with it.
I don't either.
Motion?
Move to approve.
What?
Do you have the motion to read?
Oh, do we have to read that?
There, yes, please.
Oh,
I'll get that.
thank you. Let's leave this one on the move to approve. Okay. I move to approve the liquor license application submitted by Danielle Jennings for a temporary modification of premises for the Burnout Grill located at 1760 Broad Street, Unit A, Milliken, to allow for the licensed premises to expand into the adjacent parking area for a benefit event on May 28, 2017, only from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., subject to the following conditions of approval. The licensee shall pay all required liquor application fees, and the licensee shall provide adequate staffing and physical barriers to close the area of the temporary licensed premises to prevent unauthorized consumption of alcohol.
Thank you.
Second.
Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Yes, sir. Trustee Austin?
Yes.
Mayor Woodcock?
Yes.
Trustee Burek?
Yes.
Trustee Lebron Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Meisner?
Yes.
Trustee Nick Ehrlich?
Yes.
It's 7:03. The liquor licensing authority adjourns and reconvenes as a town board. And that's all we have for tonight's meeting, so the meeting is adjourned.